to me, it almost felt like two different movies. I feel like the setup of him before he gets to London is one movie that is horrible. I didn't like anything about any of that.
And it was like, if this movie doesn't pick up, I'm going to have to just turn it off.
This is Flick Flops. Welcome back to Flick Flops, the podcast where we review critically bad films so you don't have to, nor watch them. Today we're discussing the 2023 action-adventure romantic comedy Ghosted, starring Chris Evans and Ana de Armas. I don't know if I said that right. In the film, Chris Evans as Cole is ghosted by his recent love at first sight / one-night stand Sadie, and jets off to find her in London, only to be jumped by arms dealers and mistaken for the legendary spy called the Taxman. Sadie, an actual CIA operative herself, comes to Cole's rescue, and hijinx ensues. Written by enough people to start a rock quartet and directed by Dexter Fletcher, an English actor turned director, this movie promised to be a thrilling romantic action piece, but did it successfully commandeer the tour bus or run it straight off the cliff into obscurity? Join us as we indulge in a not so covert look at Ghosted, which had zero ghosts in it. By the
Totally misleading.
Well, now that I garbled my way through the beginning, welcome, Andy. I mean, Motley Drew.
Jeez, oh Pete. That was so funny. Enough writers to form a rock quartet. Oh my God, yeah, it did. I looked.
I'm not drunk, by the way. I promise.
It's funny. I did look this up, and I was like, I looked up the writers and all this stuff, and oddly enough, I made a note here. 2 of the 3 writers, right, actually worked on Deadpool 2 and 3.
Really?
So I'm saying there is some, pedigree. They have some decent credits. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes, and you can see these people. The guy who directed, what's his name, Dexter Fletcher.
Yeah. Do you remember him?
I don't, but I looked him up. But he was in The Elephant Man, the movie back. He was an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a few things. If you look up on Rotten Tomatoes, he's got some decent credits.
I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you with the Wayback Machine.
Oh wait, hold on. Go.
But I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, the name of the movie was it the Rachel Papers? Maybe. Do you remember this movie?
I don't, but that doesn't mean anything. I have a horrible memory on certain things. Ask me the name of Radar's dog from MASH, and I can give you that.
It had Ione Skye in it.
Hot.
Right. And he played the love interest, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
And so I recognized his face. I have this thing where I recognize faces but cannot remember names. I know there's probably a lot of people like that, but for me, I will see somebody, I'm like, I know that person from somewhere.
Right.
And it drove me nuts trying to figure it out. So I looked them up, and I was like, I remember Andy was a big fan of Ione Skye.
I was. Oh, behave, Gary.
So I was wondering if that was a nugget, especially for you.
I'll say, as the great Celine Dion would sing, Gary, it's all coming back to me now.
There you go.
That's all I got. So, if you got Celine Dion in your bingo card, go for it.
Are we starting drinking games now that the Shazammers came out?
Shazammers! Gary, let's go with some...
Dang it. I was not prepared.
Do I have that control?
You do, but you know what? I could just do it.
This is going to be quick. Rotten Tomatoes has the critics have this at 26. The audience has this at 58. Budget, because it's put out by Apple.
Yeah,
there is none because it's put out by Apple. I do have a note here. Apple TV. This thing garnered 328,500 viewers in the first 2 days, which is a landmark for them. It's the most watched debut film for them in their history.
Interesting.
Keeping in mind, Apple TV is still relatively new.
Yeah.
So it's like when I'm watching the Gordon Ramsay cooking show. He's like, "This is the best tasting meal I've had in the history of the show." It's like, it's only season 2. Like, fast and loose with history. So yeah, I don't have any budget numbers on this. I tried. I couldn't find anything. Gross. Again, there's none because it's just on a streaming service. So that's it. It's 116 minutes long ish. Do you want to just jump into this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to see where you landed because I know that when we talked about this, I mean, I saw it maybe well over a week, 2 weeks ago at
You're
this
right.
point for me, and I know that you recently finished it. So
Yeah, I started watching this, and I kind of had you in my head when I was watching it. Is sometimes the what's the word I'm looking for? The mood of when you're watching it can affect your thoughts on the movie, a la 12
right,
Monkeys. So
right,
as I was watching this, I was getting really sleepy because I've worked a lot of long hours this past week, and I was getting sleepy. So I was like, I'm going to stop this. I don't want to give this thing a bad review if I'm going to, based on me being tired.
yeah.
So I actually got up today. I finished it earlier today. So there we go. Let me see what I got here. What I got. There's my good English. Me talk pretty someday.
Hey, David Sedaris.
One thing. So as I'm watching the film, well, did you give the synopsis of it?
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't go to. I basically did the setup
Okay.
where he gets to London, and then I kind of just
Yeah.
left it at that. To
And
basically, once he gets to London, and then neither one of us can talk tonight. I think I started it, and you just continued
uh,
it.
when when I texted you earlier in the week, London, that's where I stopped watching the movie,
Right,
and you had said, "Hey, keep going from there." And
right.
it does. It gets considerably. I don't want to say better, but it moves. So like 14 minutes in, right, the two strangers meet at the farmer's market. He's a farmer selling his goods, and some back and forth happens about him selling her this and that, and it, the stream the quickness of how they go from she's slightly insulted by him, she's in the car,
I
they're
know.
going out on a date to get coffee, wake up the next morning, or he drops her off at her house like the next morning. Like they've been out all night, and just the food truck owner. I mean, you just left your stand
Right.
at the farmer's market all night. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure your friends might have helped because he said, "Hey, keep an eye on my stand for him," as he ran off
Right.
to take this
Yeah.
adventure with this girl. But like, at what point do the friends go, "Hey"? Like I got stuff to do. Like I can't just sit here and close up your stand. It's again, it's dumb and petty, but that caught me. I was like,
No,
ah,
no, 'cause and I have a few notes about that. So, one of the things first of all, I will say, I feel like the setup of him covering for the other person's stand was merely to make a little bit better sense. It's
oh
almost like
sure.
they wrote it and he runs away and it's like,
Oh, we
he
gotta
can't they be leaving his stand, like, who would
yeah.
do that? And it's like,
So
"Oh, okay, let's have him watch somebody else's stand," and then they hit that banner for so he knows we know we got friends. It was like you could see the writing of that scene. I will say this about it though, because to me, I watched that and I got interrupted at that point, and I left the movie for a while and came back to it and picked it up right at the when he goes to the car.
yeah.
And to me, it almost felt like two different movies. I feel like the setup of him before he gets to London is one movie that is horrible. I didn't like anything about any of that.
It was about 28 minutes of or 27 minutes of like, what the hell? Like,
I knew it was about 20-ish, but yeah.
I don't even know
And then
where I paused it, and like you said, it was like, if this movie doesn't pick up, I'm going to have to just turn it off because it's
yeah.
it's not holding.
Yeah. Oh, no, that whole exchange between those 2 at the farmer's market was annoying to me.
I just didn't even see the chemistry.
No,
Like
me
she's not
neither.
hot enough for me to go, I'll bypass the fact that she's killing plants, which I just love so much. I would be like, "You're kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Get out of here. You're not that hot." Again, if this is Jen Aniston mid 90s, I'm like, I'm gonna give you a pass. You can do whatever
Yeah.
you want. You're no Jen Aniston, ma'am.
I will only say I disagree with you on that point, but I don't need to go further into that.
That's fine. Yeah, no, you have a household of people in there.
Yeah. Yes, all females in this house. So.
The other thing I thought was just like you said, this was a super early setup for something that's going to play out an hour and a half later into the movie.
Yeah.
The sister going through his cell phone, which is rude, and finds the selfie of him and her in bed, which, as you know, plays something down the road. It plays.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a bitch, what a brat. Like, what are you doing looking at my phone? Like, it's not your business. She's like, oh, and like, she was just such a total. The sister, I was like, I don't even like you as you don't have a purpose in this movie, and I think you're a horrible person. Horrible.
Everything written around him and his family, and then this girl prior to going to London, and then even the wrap up when they're back. Everything about that was.
It felt awkward.
To me, it was poorly written. It was just not that good. And it all felt, especially the beginning, felt forced. It's like, we got to get all these pieces in place so that we can have the rest of the movie play out.
Yeah, so an hour later, this will all come together. I'll snap into focus, which it doesn't.
By the way, I'm starting to think I'm changing my vote as we talk about my rating.
I talked myself into a lower rating.
Because I remember being so irritated about all that.
Yeah, it just was like... I mean, the fact that his dad keeps calling him coleslaw, that was like, he's a grown. Like, first of all, stop. That's a horrible nickname. Yeah. Stop. And Tate Donovan with the Abe Lincoln. No. Come on. Like, I mean, look, I trim my beard up a little differently, but like the Abe Lincoln only worked for him. And even then, I'm like, I don't know if it even worked for him. You know, it's an Amish thing.
I just realized that there was you did the Me Talk Pretty one day, which is a name of a David Sedaris book, by the way.
Which I have never read.
Brother of Amy Sedaris.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that weird? That's a weird connection that just happened.
I did not know any of that. I use that line a lot when I mess up words.
Yeah.
Me Talk Pretty someday, and people laugh, and I move on. I don't even think the people I work with clearly have never read that book. I can assure you that.
They probably don't even know who he is, to be honest.
No.
But, yeah.
So the other thing, this part was very strange to me, only because I've done a little bit of traveling in my day. And when Cole says, when the mom suggests he go to London to chase down his love.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, I still have that travel voucher from spring break.
Yeah.
From when? Because I'm going to assure you, Gary, those vouchers,
oh yeah,
they have an expiration date.
Yeah,
that I can assure you.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of like I said, all those pieces to try to make all of that make sense to get there. It is some of the worst. That's why I think there's so many writers on this movie. I feel like you can see it.
But that's the irritating part about Hollywood. And you and I have had this discussion about songwriters. If you have more writers, should it be better?
Make it better. Well, it should be, you would think, but I don't know. I think you get away from. You know what?
Throwing another writer isn't making the script any better. You're just getting someone else more credit.
Yeah,
they're getting their Writers Guild of America credits. But that was just dumb. What's my last? Oh, this scene. I enjoyed the scene. I thought I was going to see a flashback to Catwoman. The spinning restaurant.
Yes. Yeah, me too. I thought the same thing.
I was like, oh, please let there be a gravity-defying moment in this movie. Please. Right. So, again, in my massive travels from Cincinnati over to Covington, Kentucky, I have eaten in a revolving restaurant, Gary.
Yeah. Do they go that fast, Andy?
I can assure you there was probably some kind of governor that will never allow a restaurant to spin as fast as that was spinning. So enough to spin, and this is one of the pictures I was trying to get, Gary, and I could not get in time. Kings Island.
the spin where you're backed up against
the rotor.
Okay. The vomit machine.
The vomit comet. No, that's a plane. So the thing is, this thing is spinning at such velocity that They're stuck to the wall.
Yeah.
And any of our friends, anybody who's watching this or listening to this, if you ever been to the amusement park in Cincinnati called Kings Island back in the 70s, early 80s, they had a thing that did that, just spun. Probably a lot of amusement parks had this. I don't think Kings Island had the exclusivity on this. You can probably find them.
Americana had one. I remember
Okay, and you
being
could
there
probably
too.
find them at your local carnival where
That's another throwback.
that are not put together well. It just spins, and the centrifugal force keeps you against the wall, and then the floor will drop out, and you're stuck in whatever. Like, look at me.
Yeah.
So this was happening. There's a whole scene where they lose control of the spinning restaurant. It's out of control, and they're pinned against it, and the glass is breaking. And I'm like, oh, please, for the love of God, let there be another scene that Gary and I can just rail on about the defying physics of gravity.
Yeah.
But those are my notes.
Okay. All right. I will say so. So one of the things I said is the plot was nothing special. I didn't think. I thought the setup was a lot of crappy writing to get the setup that they were. I mean, you wonder in the very beginning why it's even called. You know what? Why it's called Ghosted.
Well, again,
should I pull out the other? just for shits and giggles.
Hey, baby, yeah.
Do that one. It's not this TV show.
And I will say this, as I'm a little older, I truly don't quite understand the term ghosting somebody. I'm guessing it means you're just ignoring them. I don't.
So you
I'm
have
guessing that's what
contact
this was
with a
about.
person. You have contact with a person.
Yeah.
Date. In this case, it was a one night stand, and then no contact after that.
That's ghosting.
That's ghosting somebody.
So I do that with people trying to collect money from me. I ghost them.
If you've had some sort of I don't know.
I'm just trying to be funny.
Who knows these days. Things change so often.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, I'm not cool yet.
I wish they'd quit looking at me. It's like they're both staring at my head.
Well, and that scene looks like it's 16 Candles, with
So my note was there was nothing special about it. I felt like it was very similar to a lot of movies that I felt like it was similar to Murder Mystery 2 in the hijinks that kind of happens.
Yeah.
But of course I really liked Murder Mystery 2. I just really enjoyed that one.
Look, I can do a quick graphic for you if you want to see what my thoughts were on what you just said. if you or I can wait.
Is it a rating?
No.
Or you got a background? Oh.
I got something I can change, and it might, like you were just saying, it reminded you of something else.
Okay, go for it.
Let me do this. It'll take me just a second because I'm not fast like you. So we got this.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, it didn't. Hold on. Dang it.
Are we going to run that piece again?
Hold
Come
on.
on,
It's coming. It's coming.
Hey. There you go.
If you want to watch the better version of this movie, just watch the original.
Yeah.
I gotta work the
vein of the actiony romantic comedy thing that the other one I had listed was The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
I don't know if I even saw that one.
Yeah, it's not bad. To me, it's kind of in the same vein. I mean, it's not the same plot. It's just that it's the same. It feels like it hits all kind of the same sort of notes. Maybe not. There's a little bit more. It's not a spy thing really, but anyway.
Right.
I have notes, and I'll come down to highlights, lowlights, things. But the acting, there's a lot of surprise cameos.
Yes.
In the movie, there's a lot of Marvel Universe people in there that I didn't expect you to spot. Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, and then one I don't want to ruin in case people do watch the movie.
Yeah, at the end.
Specifically in the restaurant scene.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I didn't bring it up either because I was like, I'll let that one sit.
I'll leave that one because I feel like that was purposely and it's really funny.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
John Cho's in it and Tim Blake Nelson.
There's a lot of words I don't understand.
you know that. You know who Tim Blake Nelson is. He's about 4 foot tall, I think. But anyway, you've got Adrian Brody was
Who was good?
the main bad guy in it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't, other than the setup, like the whole beginning of the movie, I don't think the acting is terrible. There were a lot of scenes in this that I actually did enjoy.
I agree.
There were a lot of parts I just had fun with, but man, there's a lot of bad stuff that mostly bookending the good stuff that I feel like I changed my rating because the more I think about the other parts, the more I'm like, I have to debit these people for for some of the bad writing.
Yeah.
So opening dialogue I put was just dumb. That whole plant scene, I've got that written down as dumb.
Yeah.
And then I put the setup for him traveling to find her was weak. The highlights, I put down all of the bounty hunter stuff. I thought that was really fun.
I mean,
it was like
John
different bounty.
Wick-ish.
Yeah, had a lot of that feel
starts
too.
going off at the same time. I'm like, okay. I mean, again, this is all just tired stuff that we've seen. There's nothing new in this at all. Nothing.
Correct.
Again, reference this. If you want to see the better version, see James. What's it? Cameron. I can't remember. I'm backwards on my screen. James Cameron's version. It's a better script.
See Nora Maximage. Nora Maximige's film.
Yeah, you got that.
I'm seeing it correctly, by the way.
I know.
You're not backwards.
It's so weird. I'm looking at this. I was like, it's backwards. I got to remember that. Like, I'm like a weatherman. Like, you're trying to look at a.
Just watch Seal Ewert.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that's a great movie. I remember really enjoying it.
It is a great movie
in the theater.
Very well done, and it's just a better version of this. So, like, I would say to somebody, like, again, watch this if you want to. If you're willing to watch Ghosted, just don't go back and watch this movie. It's great. You won't be disappointed. This you might be.
Yeah. If you can get past the first 20 or so minutes, you're that far invested in it, you'll probably like some of the stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
But if you get through that first part, like if you're watching the first part and you hate it, go ahead and turn it off because it's not like you're really getting. I mean, I don't know. I thought this was going to be a tap out, to be honest with you. When I had to stop it for reasons and then come back to it, I was like, this thing better, like something better happen soon.
Well, I did too. When I texted you, like, I'm going to have to stop the movie. You're like, okay. And then I'm like, I'm not saying I'm done. But in my head, a part of me was like, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
But I've learned to trust you. If you say to me, push through. Because you've done it with me with books before when I was like, I don't know about this book. You're like, listen, trust me. You're getting to a spot where this book's going to take off. Right. And it does. So I like, all right, I trust. And it did. Yeah. We'll get into our ratings here in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah. That's all my notes, honestly.
Okay.
So, I lost my screen now.
We can do our ratings if you want, and then carry on the order.
Do our
skilly bap boo.
Bam.
Coming in hot.
Coming in live. Andy, you, me. Who goes first on this one?
I can go first if you want.
Go for it.
I'm going to go with boop.
That's funny.
It's 3 turd worthy. Just kind of hammering home the point I said. This film has moments where like some of the scenes are fun. The sequences are fun. I'm like, yeah. There's some stuff reminiscent of maybe a little Indiana Jones type. Not that good. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But the action, it's moving. I was like, oh, this film's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I always will say, I didn't, when it ended, I wasn't mad. I wasn't like, oh, damn it. Here's the thing. I wish we would watch some bad movies so I could get a little more animated. This was just okay. I'm like, again, would I tell him to watch it? That probably not. I would just say go watch True Lies. It's a better version. Yeah. It's a better movie.
When you said the Indiana Jones thing, I was thinking of the bus scene.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, it reminds me. Yeah, I could see that with the one specific chase scene. Yeah,
this is just a tired. This format doesn't have to be done, but if you're going to do it. You've got a benchmark, at this. If you look at like mafia films, you have the benchmark of the Godfather films. So you have to either try to live up to that or shoot past The Godfather. You can't go below it because that's what you're going to be compared to. That's what I feel like this is. Like, man, this film was just, it felt like it was just thrown together. Like you said, 3 writers. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I can't give you my resume of the stuff I've put out, but
yeah,
that's what we're here for. We're here to watch movies and kind of pick them apart, you know.
Well, ironically, I changed mine and went to that as well, which is funny because I was like, there's enough for me to not go past this that I did like.
I was at 2 going into this, and the more we talked,
that's funny. That's exactly.
I was like, no, I'm angrier now than when we're talking about it.
That's me too. That's hilarious.
If I talk to Teresa about it, she just doesn't care.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, why'd you watch it then? I'm like,
yeah,
you take all the fun out of this.
Yeah.
I want to get heated. I want my face to get red.
Yeah, that's funny because that's where I was at too, and I'm like,
yeah, my notes I have it written down too, and I'm like, no.
The more I talk about the first thing, I was like, the more I was actually, because I didn't even, until you said that, and then I started remembering going home and talking to the family and the whole thing, all that playing out. That was kind of a long time for a setup for. That's a lot of crappy. That's a good portion of the movie crappy. Right. So I had to change it. But again, there were a couple scenes I did like, and that one cameo, I thought was hilarious. There's an outtake thing of that at the end, which is funny about that too. And or I don't know if it's actually, is it in the movie, the outtake at the end?
I didn't see it, but I may have turned it off a little early. I thought
I don't know. Okay, I don't know if it's maybe one of the special.
Okay.
They might have been an outtake on Apple TV.
Oh,
they
okay.
had like a separate thing for it.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of those. And
I can't recall.
But echoing what you said is the acting was. I mean, Adrian Brody is such a good actor. I really like him. I buy him as a bad guy. I'm like, that's pretty cool. A lot of the actors you mentioned, their names, I don't remember who's who on some of them, but everybody seemed to act well. I didn't feel the chemistry, the sexual tension between these two as much as I think we should have.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, like, I mean, to me, I look at everything and it's like a Ross and Rachel, right?
Yeah.
From Friends. And that was seasons-long sexual tension. Got it. This I did not feel at all. I don't know. I mean, I think they, as a couple, they work together. And the funny thing is, the end of the movie, there was a scene where, like, people were back at the family household. I'm like, they seem okay there. But the build-up, I don't know. I just don't buy that you would fly to London after one date.
Right.
I just don't.
Yeah.
Maybe you do. I don't know. I wouldn't. Well, maybe I would. Who knows?
I mean, even the whole setup, how that happens, like how he finds out where she's at and all that stuff. Like that's all like, come on, man. It's just.
I mean, the fact that I think about my parents. Like his mom's like, you should go to London. If I said to my parents, I think I'm gonna go to London to follow a girl, they'd be like, you're an idiot. Stupid.
That's true.
And his mom's like, you should do it.
Well, the thing that gets me, so she's a CIA operative,
right,
for a living.
Yeah,
and somehow she's carrying some device around her purse that's giving off a location, and she doesn't like. I don't know, that whole thing. I was like, it's like cartoon characters.
It just seems like
man, we're belaboring the point, aren't we?
For lack of good writing, they just made things happen real quick. Like, oh, then they have a device that does this.
Yeah.
And you have a device that does this. There you go.
Yeah.
It's like a Speed Racer or something.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. Don't watch the movie. Do something else with your time.
You already got your watch this instead. That's good.
There you go. Got to use it finally.
Yeah. So last thing, like, subscribe, join our channel. Please. Get on there and let us know your thoughts for sure.
Tell us we're wrong.
Yeah.
I dare you.
Tell us, Pete. Tell us we're wrong, Pete, before you watch it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pete.
Yeah, Pete, good job. I like your comment. I haven't watched the movie, but you're wrong. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. Well,
I like it though. Good. Like at least some interaction. Good deal.
Yeah. Yeah. want to hear from more people. So it's cool. All right. Well, I guess thanks for watching Flick Flops, any of you that stuck around. And join us next time when we take on more poopy films.